This video is sponsored by Squarespace. You can make your own beautiful website or online store with this all-in-one platform. Welcome to another sketchbook session. Today I just wanted to do like a fun spread of like colorful sketches and doodles, but at first things were really not going to plan. I just couldn't draw. It was one of those days where you really want to draw, you get out all your supplies, you're excited, and then it just didn't work. I think I was too tired. It was just one of those days where there was some disconnect between my brain and my hand, and I didn't know what to draw, and I just felt like out of control of my lines and mark making, and it just felt really unnatural and really forced. And I was gonna cut out the beginning of this video and not show it, but I thought it might be interesting to some people just to see like a few moments of what it's like when I try to draw and I can't. And yeah, that top sketch just really doesn't look too good. I decided to move on after that and try drawing a Canada goose. The top one was sort of supposed to be a Canada goose, but it did not look like one. And I wanted to do like a floral bird drawing, but I just couldn't. And I don't know, there was a huge block in my mind. I ended up having to take a break and film later in the day, but I wanted to show you this beginning failed attempt. There's another whole spread where I tried to draw badgers, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to take a few hours and come back and try to do something else in my sketchbook, but this is the beginning of it. I don't actually mind the way the one on the bottom turned out. I felt like I was just going through the motions and just drawing for the sake of drawing because I was filming and because I had to. And it just, I don't know, it was not going well. But I was definitely enjoying some aspects, like when I decided to cover up the top one. Luckily, the Caran d'Ache pastels are water soluble. So I'll come back to this page with a fresh set of eyes in the future and just doodle on top of it. It's always fun to doodle on top of a colorful background. Then I flipped to a different page that I drew last week or 2 or 3 weeks ago, where I was in a really good mood and drawing a lot of geese. And I thought, you know what, it might be fun to add color to this page. And that's what I like to do when I am having sort of an art blocky kind of day. And I know I want to film and I want to do something in my sketchbook, but I just can't start on a blank page. I need something to work off of. And that's what I did today. I worked off of this page and I colored in all these little doodles. I decided to just block in the background of this first one here, and I took out my watercolors. I mainly used the Shinhan PWC watercolors, and I couldn't find my favorite brush. I still don't know where it is. I don't know where I put my brushes. I have a couple of brushes that I really like to use, so I had to dig out some brushes that I don't really use that often, and they were kind of a challenge to use because the tip of the brush doesn't come to as fine a point as my favorite one. I can't remember what my favorite one is called. I think it's a Princeton Heritage brush, and this one is a Royal Langnickel Zen watercolor brush, which I like most of them, but this one in particular just doesn't come to very fine of a point, and it's kind of hard to control. But I made it work, and that's the most important part. I also just wanted to talk about how I deal with art block and how I deal with frustrating days where I want to draw but I can't. And there is this specific feeling that I think all artists have experienced, and I think it's easy to assume that your favorite artists online don't feel this way, and that it's only beginner artists that have these feelings, or I don't know, it's easy to look at people that you follow and imagine that every time they draw, everything goes really smoothly. But today, when I first tried to film, it was not going smoothly at all. I sat down for an hour. I tried to draw, I just couldn't, and I just kept trying to push through, and I really just I couldn't think of anything, I couldn't do anything, and there were lots of factors contributing to that mindset. I was extremely tired. I think I had a bit of a rough day the day before. I didn't get a lot of sleep, and I don't know, there was just a lot of pressure for me to film. I need to film, I need to draw, I have to do this, and I just couldn't, and I got that super frustrating artist rage that I think a lot of you can probably relate to, where you just suddenly want to rip the page out, you want to rip up your sketchbook, you just feel this overwhelming frustration that makes you just so it's like a switch flips in your mind and you're like, I hate art, I hate drawing, I can't do this, I'm a failure, I'm never gonna be able to draw again. But I decided, okay, you need to stop, you need to take a break, go and like rest, go do some other kind of work. And I actually ended up having a nap. I came back and I did this nice little calming page and I felt a lot better. I just wanted to share that with anyone watching in case you have days like that. Just know that every artist you follow probably 100% has days like that too. It's not something that you will stop experiencing when you become a like quote unquote professional artist. I think it follows us all to an extent because you're always going to have this idea of what you want your art to look like. It's so much easier to imagine how you want a sketch page to look or how you want a certain illustration to look, but making it happen with your hand and actually realizing it is a totally different story. And I think as your skills progress, your expectations progress at the same time. So you're never going to be like, oh, yeah, my art's finally good enough. I don't need to like practice anymore. Like, yeah, I finally reached my full potential. That will never happen. And I think that's a really good part about being an artist is like continuing to search for ways to improve your art or ways to express your ideas differently and like let your style evolve over time. I think that's one of the best things about being an artist, and I would never want to stop my progress. But that's just to say that when you're a beginner, you're always thinking about how you want to improve. When you're a professional, you're still thinking about that. You're still thinking about what are some new subjects I could draw? Have I drawn this before? I want to draw something new. I want to try this new medium. I'm having an off day. It really never stops as we get older. So I think that's a really cool part about being an artist. And I just wanted to talk about that for a bit. Now for a quick break to thank this video's sponsor, which is Squarespace. I actually recently revamped my website a little bit. I added a little intro paragraph for the landing page of my site. I added a cool little border effect on an image, which is a really cool part of Squarespace in their cutting edge design tools. And of course, their portfolios and galleries feature makes it really easy to just upload all your artwork, rearrange them, and have a nice portfolio landing page on your website. Another cool thing is their e-commerce tools. I just launched a fish mug on my website that is fulfilled by a third party, and it's become one of my favorite mugs, and you can actually grab it if you want. And I also offer digital downloads, and I've really enjoyed the process of using my Squarespace site to sell things that aren't on my main shop. If you'd like to try this out for yourself, go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch your website, go to squarespace.com/JelArts to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Let's talk about some of the art supplies that I used on this page. I really should do an updated art supply video. I like to do one every year or so, but I don't know if much has changed. I mean, maybe some has. I'll tell you what I used. Like I said, I used the Shinhan PWC watercolors for this page. They're one of my favorite watercolor brands just because they were accessible one day. Like I saw them in the store and I was like, you know what? Let's give these a try. I can't remember if a viewer recommended them to me. Maybe they did. But I realized, hey, I can get these at my local art store. And I grabbed a bunch and the tubes are still going strong. I've bought some new replacement ones for the colors that I use a lot. They're not the most transparent watercolors. They're more of the slightly more opaque type of watercolor, but I really like them for their color payoff. And I think the way I sketched this page, it was just like a graphite pencil, but I got a question about one of the mechanical pencils that I use, and it's called the Mars Technico mechanical pencil, and it fits 2B lead, so it's really thick lead. Wait, it fits 2mm lead, which makes it really thick lead, not 2B. I like to put 2B lead in the barrel because it's darker than the lead that it comes with. And I'm using some Artex acrylic markers, not sponsored. They sent these to me a long time ago, but this particular video is not sponsored. I just genuinely use them a lot. But I have noticed a lot of them are starting to dry up. There's not a lot of ink in them. I'm still working on that acrylic marker comparison video. I really hope I can have it out in the summer. I just really need to finish that one up. I also like to use colored pencils, lots of different brands. I was trying out some new brands recently, so I'm not sure which ones I used in this video exactly. It was either the Holbein Artist pencils or the Faber-Castell Polychromos, probably one of those. I think that's the jar that I had out today. And for the black outlines, it's a Tombow brush pen that I don't know how to pronounce that I would recommend to anyone if they're looking for a nice waterproof black flexible nib fine liner. It's my go-to one, and I think I ended up using it because my sister was into like bullet journaling a really long time ago. I think she still does that, but she was like into hand lettering, and those Tombow brush pens are pretty popular in that community, I think, as well as the artist community. It's just a really good set. It comes with a hard brush and a soft brush, but I don't really notice too much of a difference. I just like to get the 2-pack because it comes with 2 pens, and I think that's a pretty like readily available set on Amazon. I was gonna stop filming after the first page, but I had these cute little sketches on the next page, especially the one of the goose wearing a little blue turtleneck sweater thing. So I really wanted to color him. So I just decided to color the 3 little sketches in the bottom, and I tried to not go overboard with these ones. I have a bad habit of just like adding way too much stuff on the page, and when I have acrylic markers in the mix, that gets even more dangerous because it's so easy to just like add and add and add when you have paint, because it can cover anything. So this page I tried to take my time and just make it nice and loose and sketchy and not try to render it, not try to like force it to be rendered. It's just a sketch. I really want to try to loosen up more, maybe on some future pages. I'm almost done with this sketchbook, and I'm quite excited to start a new one that has different paper, because I like to sort of use different paper in each sketchbook. My next one is one of my favorites that I've ever used, but it's the square format version. Wait, no, I just actually looked, and it's a normal like portrait size sketchbook, pretty much the same size as this one. The one I used previously was a square, but I decided to just get the normal one this time around. I should also mention, since it's still May, there's a little bit of time left to grab the May Patreon package. If you want to get a print, a sketchbook print, and a sticker sent to you, make sure to sign up before May ends. You can join the sticker tier or the print tier or the tier where you get all 3. And if you stay pledged, you can get next month's, or you can join and leave whenever you like the package that's being offered that month. So make sure to check out my Patreon, and also check out the fish mug if you'd like to get a little mug that I designed, or my Procreate brush packs if you want to use the same brushes that I use for my digital art. So many promotions, but there's a lot going on, a lot of new stuff. I'm also curious, how is your current sketchbook going? If you're an artist, if you use a sketchbook, I'm kind of getting to the point where I've had this one for so long, and I'll be sad to move on, but I'm also excited for the future. I also feel like I didn't use it as much as I would have liked to. Like, I just don't think I sketch enough in general. I would like to draw more. If I could choose, I would draw more often, but sometimes I just need a bit of a break, and you come back with fresh eyes, and sometimes it hurts my hand. I don't know, it's all about balance, but I think it would be nice to just do more like low pressure doodling. But I don't know. I feel like every artist says like, I wish I used my sketchbook more. I wish I drew more. I wish I drew every day. But it's so hard to actually make that happen. Like, it truly is. Whenever an artist does a challenge where they're like, I drew every day for 30 days and they film it every day, that is so impressive to me. I wonder if I could ever do something like that. Drawing every day for 30 days, yeah, I could probably do that. But filming it and like actually having a decent drawing to show for it, I don't know. I guess that's not the point. It doesn't have to be like a nice illustration. It's just like trying to draw something every day. But anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was fun to just get all my art supplies out and just kind of make a mess on the page. I don't know. I think I overdid it again. Like, added too much stuff, but there's some sketches on here that I really like, and it was pretty fun to do, pretty relaxing. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.